Okay.
Okay, we're on.
All right. So we're back where we were. Yeah.
Yep, back where we were.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So
So,
let's start with the intent. So uh, have you told it what your intent is?
no, why does that matter?
Because it restricts what it's thinking in terms
So I
of.
think you're talking about what the programming of the test file runner file bot is, and I
Yep.
am actually trying to make that your problem
Okay.
because this is the test file runner,
Yep.
and that's sort of, yeah. I kind of want to. I want to get out of this problem because I got codes to write. You're very good at prompting. I'm not. I It's not that I'm good at coding. It's just that we don't have anyone else, and
Yeah.
so that's
Not
what
that
I
I'm good
just.
at prompting either. Yeah.
I think you're real. I think you're really good. You always seem to know. Well, I think you don't realize how far you've come over the last year of intensely burning token after token, curse after curse, copy paste after copy paste. Um, so, I mean, put it this way: I think you got better at prompting faster than I got better at coding over the same period of time. Right?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Not
but
sure I agree, but anyway.
it's funny
Yeah.
now though. Like I actually feel like in a lot of ways my copy pasting is slowing down Chat GPT being able to write our code for us because I copy paste a lot now. Okay, so the test file runner is the prompt, and what I'm trying to do here is pass this problem off to you because
Yep.
the fixture, I should be able to run the fixture, and it's basically all these things should work as expected, right? But the question
Yep.
that I come to you with is who tests this agent, the test file runner agent. And so I made this test file, which
Mm-hmm.
is the test file runner test, and
Yep.
its target is the test file runner.
Okay.
And what I got this thing to do, this is where I would expect to describe the key features of the testing framework that we are developing. I would expect to describe them in this file, and I would expect this file to use a stable version of the test file runner to run the next version of the test file runner or the current version of the test file runner. And I would
Yep.
expect that all of these tests pass. So this is the loop back test of
Right.
this is the
Okay.
loop back test. This is the one and only loop
Yeah.
back test.
Okay. Right. So what have we got? So the features we need to exercise are reading a simple test file correctly. That should be straightforward. Getting the prompts out of the file. Getting the name of all the tests out. Out. Out is vague. What do you mean by out?
Getting the name of all the tests.
Yep. Now, have you told it what a TPS file is? Where's it inheriting the idea of what a TPS file is?
I would expect that to have been in the agent and not in this test file.
The test file runner output is a TPS file.
The test file runner output is a TPS file, yes.
Right. So you haven't told it what a TPS file is.
Yeah, but that's not my problem. That's not the business of the test file runner test. That's the business of the test file runner agent to know about that. This is all domain language that I would expect this agent to be aware of. Right? Like
Yeah, but
I'm not trying to prompt it up from scratch in this file,
yeah,
right?
but the importance of the definitions is even if they're cascade definitions, um, it needs to know what a TPS format is. So you're saying reading in a simple test file into the TPS report format, it's going to think, okay, just running this agent, it's going to go, oh, what's a TPS report format?
No, dude.
So,
This agent is the one that runs that file. In here is where all of the concepts like TPS report
right, okay,
are
right.
included, right? So I should have to give it nothing in here.
Yeah. So inside here, go from bottom up here.
Okay.
So
The bottom
let's
down
check
here.
in this. Yeah. In this, it knows about the TPS format. Create a TPS format report and test fixture. Yeah. And everything that TPS format needs to be is known by test file runner.
Yes, that's a necessary. That is why I like this loopback concept, because that test file runner, for this test to pass, all of this domain knowledge has to have been included in the test file runner.
Right, but we're testing the test file runner.
Correct.
So if there's a problem with the definition of a test file, TPS report in the test file, it's going to be fat, dumb, and happy doing the wrong test file.
Maybe, but that would be fully exposed the instant you tried to then run the test fixture test file.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is, we'll come to this, but it needs to be fair on it. It's testing the test file runner.
Yep.
Test file runner creates a TPS report.
Yep.
That TPS report could say, sod you all, I don't care.
Yep.
And that would be inherited by the.
Yeah, but this is the point of why this test file is important, because you as the human need to review it and make sure it is being run correctly and not outputting gibberish. This is the place where you need to manually look at it and assess the output for yourself to make sure it's stable. And then once you know it's stable, then you can go off and run it against other files with at least that background, that base level of correctness. And then you start building up incremental feature improvements and enhancements in both the test file runner agent and the test file runner test. But this is the manual step that you must do.
Yeah, so we've got our three C's: complete, coherent, correct. And what we're saying is it's got to be complete and coherent, and doesn't need to be correct, because we define what correct is. And if all the TPS file we need to say is sod you all, I don't care, it would still pass.
Well, the machine would pass, but then you, the human, would fail it.
Right. So that's where you come in. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it's inheriting whatever you say the TPS is. It's inheriting it from test file runner. It's saying, are you producing a test file that you know about? I don't know about. I'm just going to make sure that you do what you're meant to do. I don't know. I don't care if the human thinks it's correct or not. You just got to be complete and correct, complete and coherent, self-coherent and complete, in that you haven't missed anything. Got it. Okay. So, I want to go back to the test file, the test.
Sorry?
Test file runner test.
This is test file runner test.
So, features read X's are reading in a simple test file. Right. Again, where's inheriting test file from?
It's gonna. You mean inheriting where is the contents of the simple test file? Or
yeah, what's an example of a test file?
Reading in. Okay, reading in. This is not actually. This is just background information for describing the purpose of this file. This is not meant to be handled by a bot or anything really.
Yeah, but it's quite important in that if we are ignoring it correct, because that's
All
where
right,
it
look,
could
I
come
feel
from.
like this is not going the way I wanted. The way I wanted was to explain to you my problem. You are here busy trying
All
to
right.
tell me what my fault with prompting is. Prompting's not my
Okay.
problem, it's your problem. I'm trying to
Okay.
give you
Fair
the
enough.
problem and be like, sort it out, because I don't have the time to deal with it. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
all
Yeah.
right. So how do I
Yeah.
give you enough information that you can take it from here?
So what's the problem that you're when you run this? What's the erroneous output that you're thinking that's not right?
The first erroneous output that I get, just give me a second, sorry. So in this thread, what I've done is I've run the test file runner against the test file runner test file.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. And so first of all, it read in the file correctly, and
Yep.
then this is the correct file.
Yep.
If you,
Okay.
yeah, then it
Good.
began. It did TPS report upsert, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It named the agents correctly, the agent test file runner, and it named the assessor correctly, and it did the iterations correctly. Okay, then when it went add case.
Okay. So the first one is well, there is
The first
reading a
one,
simple
to
test
flick
file
back
correctly.
to the actual file, the first one should have been befores are handled. What it's done is it's gone and thought that this bullet list up the top was part of a test definition. Right, so it said the name of the test was reading in a simple test file correctly, which is exactly what I said up here. So it, despite my best efforts, has not determined or realized that without a heading, like I would expect this to be classed as a heading, without a heading, this is not a test. And without the prompts and the expectations, this is also not a test. But it's ignored all that, and it's gone ahead and decided that it knows better and that this thing is a test case. That's error number one.
So let's look at befores are handled correctly. So ignore the output for now. If we go back to the prompt. So there's an issue that the before tests are not identified correctly. Is it?
Yeah, because this is, well, I'm telling you there is because I saw it, and I'm sorry I don't have any data to attach to it, but I think how you can recreate the issue is if you try and run the test file runner against the test file, the test fixture test, which has like the most drop dead simple implementation or use of the before function. What it does is it completely misses this, so it skips that correctly. It doesn't realize that it's even being called as a before, and then for this one, even though I've got multiple ones, it only identifies this test as being before. So it counts it interprets the format wrong.
Okay, all right. Again, all right. If you go up, let's think about this. So if you scroll up a bit. Okay, so before function. The
And
very
so
first, the
I
very first
wanted
one.
this to be the name of the test case, and then I wanted the thing that said before, these are the names of the functions that are going to get run before.
Okay. Immediately, I think one of the problems is it doesn't know what before means.
Well, I tried to
Um,
tell it because I updated the info file. And I attempted to tell it what before meant.
like before, and then a list of items underneath is an ordered list of test cases by name that needs to be run before this current test case. The order in the list is the order in which we run. Okay, so what you're expecting is it knows that before is stated as that. Okay, all right. If you flip back to the next one, the last one. Okay, so call the local function. So it's so this is a well-formatted test fixture.test.md, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, this is I formatted it how I expect the formatting to go in as nice a way as possible without me trying to be funny about it or difficult. This to me represents the simplest possible test file that exercises all of the current features more or less.
Okay, right. Now, test file is running a test. Sorry, test file runner
Yeah.
is what being test. Test file runner requires a target.
Yep. So the target is the fixture agent.
Okay. And what's the fixture agent look
The
like?
fixture agent is intended to be the absolute simplest, cleanest, not trying to be difficult agent that I could come up with. Please tell me it's there. That would be awkward, wouldn't it? You're like, oh god. Agent fixture.
Fixture agent. Okay. Right.
Did I spell that wrong? Agent fixture. No, agent fixture. Good. Phew.
Okay. Right.
Right.
Okay. And those commands, tell me about those commands. What was it? IO fixture, local, and error. That's just a throw an error, and what's the local?
Local is this calls from the IO fixture isolate. When it calls local, it simply returns this text string local reply.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's all it does is now. There's a lot of shit happen under the hood to make that possible, but that's basically like ping, and it's
right.
this is how I build up more advanced features by starting with these dirt simple ones and then
Okay,
going up from there, right? Now,
it's
error,
ping.
when you call error, it throws an error. And so that's the purpose of that function, is to throw an error and make sure that the error handling mechanisms in the system work as expected.
Right. So what happens when you run the fixture agent by itself without testing it?
Oh, it'll just be sitting there. It'll just do whatever you want. Right? So I can call it right now. It's just another agent at this point. Like a really dumb one. Not very flattering,
I'm
but
just kind of bootstrapping up to see what actual good means.
right. So yeah,
Or
everything whenever I name something fixture, it means it's the simplest, cleanest, most basic thing that sounds so basic you might not even think that it was even worth testing, but I need it to be that simple.
Right. Okay. So run that.
All right, so we switch and stick, which is actually a feature I love about the switchboard.
Yeah,
Switching stick's good, right?
it is good. It is good. It does require offloads onto the meat brain, but the meat brain, it's like, yeah, okay, we can't
The meat
make it
brain
completely.
expects stickiness, I think, in a lot of
Yeah,
cases, right?
right.
Now,
There you go. Right.
right, and
So
then you're
a
like,
little bit.
what functions have you got then? What you got? What you got? Various functions. You're overselling it. You can only do two things. Okay, do the local ping. And here is where it did the ping. The ping came back local reply as a string, and it's like, okay, done. Okay, now
Brilliant. Right.
now do the error. Do you like the smooth scroll into view? And
pretty nice.
the little button that you get that takes you all the way down.
Yeah, that saved me a lot of time.
Right, I have fixture error. So I made the call. The function call requires the bot to give a message, and whatever happens is it will throw the error with that message, and that's what happened.
Error triggered. This is a test error. Okay, right. So
Right.
that's what we want.
That's all
Okay,
it does.
so-
That's all it does. Magic,
Right.
reduced
Now
down
let's
to
go
this.
Down to fixture test.md.
Okay. Just quickly, did you notice this is the extra feature that I gave you? Up.
Oh no, I didn't. Oh, thank you so fucking much.
Dude,
for
do you
that.
even read the messages that I work so hard to be able to deliver to you? Like, right? So you go up,
Oh yeah,
up,
I do. I do. I get up like early in the morning and I read through them.
and
I
miss
don't
the important
necessarily.
shit.
I miss the
Anyway,
important shit, yeah.
so now when you hit escape, it clears it, and then you can sort of go back to the previous one. But watch this. If I start writing something, then I actually flicked back to the start. So I go up, which is like the last message. Then I go back down. It's the temporary message I entered. The cool bit is if I go escape and delete it, I can go up and get back the thing I just typed, even though this isn't a message.
That's quite cool. That's quite cool.
Right? And then you go scrolling, do your stuff, scrolling, up and down, whatever, yeah?
Brilliant.
Don't say I never do anything for you.
Could you do a history as well?
What? What kind of history? That is a history, isn't it? I gave the entire Git fucking thing here is nothing but history. Like you could, what? Christ! What
Yanking on your chain, man. I'm just yanking on your chain.
Yanking my blockchain, huh?
So that's right. That's what the agent should do, right? So
Correct.
let's go to the fixture test.
Wait, what is your name? That's the last thing it does. My name is Assistant. Putting the ass in Assistant since way back when. Okay. Now, that's it.
So, right, that's it. That's fine. So that's working. We know that's working. So now, if we go to test.
The test fixture test?
Yeah. So this is what we wanted to do. Okay, so.
This is exercising the agent fixture.
Call the local function. Flip back to the real bot and put that prompt in and see what happens.
Okay, do you want me to clear the history or just straight in like that?
Just straight in.
Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, 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 chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, boom, boom. Okay, that went correct.
Okay, right. Copy that local function called local reply. Okay, so that's
hang on. This feels like me doing your job. Why am I copy pasting?
Oh, I could do it if you like.
Well, what are you trying to? Can we skip ahead to the part where I'm like, here it is, you carry on?
Oh yeah. If you could. But well, I could do it now live.
No, but
I'm
what do
not
you want
entirely
to?
sure what I'm doing is tracing it through. So what we've been doing is you start with a prompt. Sorry, you start with an agent,
Yeah,
a real simple agent. You just say, like with Hammer, it's like add one customer. I expect one customer
yeah.
to be done. And I check with the
So
agent.
was your strategy going to be you want me to copy the output and put it here so that you can make sure that this test works correctly?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
this is not. That's not the problem. That's not the problem here. The problem here is that the test file runner itself is not interpreting all of the test file correctly. It's interpreting some of it correctly, but as soon as it gets to the before function, it conks out.
right, but I'm just doing it step by step. Humor me on this one if you got time. Or I can
I
just do
don't
it
have time.
and
I don't have
wait.
time. I desperately need to pass it
Right,
off to
right.
you to do because I have my list of this is my list of shit that mostly you gave to me to do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
All
fair enough.
right,
Right.
this list is it only ever seems
Um,
to get bigger, and I'm desperate to get some tools that will help me crush it down. And one of the ways that I can not have more to do is to not have to be a prompt engineer because I think I've given you everything that
all right.
you right.
Okay. So what I suggest is,
We're still
unusually,
going, and there we go,
um,
the end.
oh come on,
Oh, the upper. Hey, I did this one. I did that.
yay, well
Hey,
done. Right. What I would suggest is, we can curtail this call. I'll go and
I
fix
did
this
that.
and make it work. And then it shouldn't take more than an hour, and they can jump on.
It'll almost certainly not work out according to your time frames. That's been what I understand from this kind of problem. Um,
Yep.
uh, can we carry on with you had some other stuff you were going to show me?
What this is actually impacting on what I'm doing as well.
What is this
So
issue that we're dealing with here?
yeah, because
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
getting weirdness.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the thing you're gonna
Yeah, I'll
fix.
show you my weirdness. Um,
Okay.
because this is new weirdness. All right, that's we'll come back to that. That's
Yep.
my first meat brain version of what stuck is like. Okay, so um, I'm running tests and getting.
Can you send it over to me that link so I can poke at
Okay,
it too?
yep, I can. Actually, I put it into Git, but I've not committed, so that's useless. All right, that's what I'm working on. Okay, so I was doing real simple tests. Well, this looked like a real simple test, but so it's like I was going right. Yesterday, multiple hammer test was brilliant. This is the latest. I've cleared everything, done all that, confirmed, and so on. It's like okay, multiple test hammer is in Scotland, and it is two prompts. It is create customer, create lots of customers, and then count them. Yep, and that should be a fail. So a kind of negative response. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And, there are options that create customers. That's not important.
You broke up a
So
lot there. For the last thing you said.
what's going on here? I had connection problems for ages. I got. What am I doing? There must be some kind of EM coming out somewhere.
What are you doing?
I don't have anything running. Anyway, I'll persevere, and if it gets bad,
Yep, that's all good.
I'll come back on a note. Right. Okay. So,
So this is all your
right.
work is focusing on running the file test slash Scott Mudpit slash multiple hammer test, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Test file runner. Could not find the file or directory. It's like, what? There it is.
No, yeah, there's only
Um,
one T.
well,
You spelled it wrong.
I
You did.
can't. I did that, but look, files read tests with two T's, because I spotted that. It's like, read it. Okay, now you know where I'm going. It's like, okay, and now, right, we're shit on a stick. You're right. Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, hold a second.
I think we need to equip the file reader with some basic and prompt finding tools
Well,
like.
yeah, I was going to add into the test file if it gets a close hit, saying, "Did you mean this?" Which would be helpful, but that's my partnership. Right, talking to the test file runner. Okay, so run tests stroke Scott mud pit stroke multiple hammer
You know what you need? It's
test.md.
autocomplete on files.
I'd love autocomplete.
Or what? No, actually, no, because I end up building a hell of a lot of UI lately, ever since you guys came onto the platform. But what I think that problem would be solved by is you should be able to click on multiple hammer test and it would show up on the prompt as a file. And so the next time you entered something, that
Dude,
file
I
would.
asked for that a month ago. You're like, here's the focus. And it's like, run that file. Like, add it to your list.
It's already on the list. I'm just saying that's what would solve it.
Right. Okay. So there's an issue running. Now this ran yesterday, no problems. There's an issue running the specified test file due to existing invalid parameters. Now, okay. Well, let's try something simpler. Let's go to router because router passed yesterday, right? So it's like run router, sorry, tests router.test.md. Does its thing, read it, happy with that. Tests. Right. What's going on here? Weirdness. I've not changed router.test on .md since yesterday.
Hang on. Can you let me just? I'm still processing your previous error.
Because what was working no longer works.
That which was working no longer works. So
Sounds
okay, so
like
give me. I'll catch up to you, but let me just go through these faults and I'll sort of explain what I'm thinking along the way. So this was when you just tried to run Scott Mudpit multiple hammer test.
Ignore multiple hammer because I've been fucking around with that. But router is a known correct test file that that works, because we did that yesterday. And
Yeah.
I've
So
been messing
let me
around with.
just see what these errors are anyway, because I think I need to fix that progress bar thing. The targets specified in the test focus on multiple hammer test, agent, assessor, iterations 1. Why is this continuing to burn tokens? So we got the TPS report has been created. It's not quite stabilizing yet. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, and then we're adding a case. This is what failed.
No, it's created successfully. So it's like happy days. We now have John Doe. Then
Yep. Yeah, hang on, my bad. I got you. My bad. That was because I changed the TPS report format to require the addition of the befores.
Ah, right. Gotcha.
Oh no, that's legit. TPS report isolates, add case. Befores. Array of numbers, integers greater than or equal to 0. But why didn't it?
Because I haven't said anything, because router.test.md is unchanged. There's no before.
Yeah, but what should have happened is that this function is available inside of the thing that gets sent to the tools that get sent to OpenAI always include the latest isolate information. And here it said that befores is required. So it's not like that is definitely 100% required to be sent. So you can't. It has no excuse to have not called that.
But there is no requirement for befores in the router test.md.
If you want to call add case, I have changed add case to now require you to add the befores parameter.
Right. Okay. So can you go into router and show me where that should be? Because router is exactly the same as yesterday. There's no befores. Haven't mentioned before. Doesn't know about befores. If you're requiring befores, it's not doing befores.
So both those errors are the same. Okay, router.test. Files read, that's all fine. Files run upsert, okay. That's all fine. Add case. Test path. Switch alone. Expectations. It's not making the call to it's not adding befores.
Yeah. It doesn't know about befores. I'm told router.test.md about
but
befores.
it shouldn't matter because like that's add case requires that the schema, the JSON schema says that that's a required function to call. And so the bot has no excuse to not fill it in because the schema says required. Right? So either, the bot's got a weakness there where it can't handle passing in an empty array.
It just doesn't mention it though.
Well, see, because this line becomes this line becomes part of the prompt. The bot sees that. And so it saw that it required that, and then it chose not to put it in there. So, I mean, all I can think of is that the prompting needs to be put in to give it a bit of an extra nudge. But, yeah.
So is it the case that test file runner needs to say if there are no befores, pass an empty array?
Probably, yeah. But you would not be on the latest version of that here because you haven't cleared your site data, right?
No, I did. This morning I did the whole clear new incognito, all that good stuff. Well, here's the thing, right? So you take over the screen and do it from blank. It's basically test file runner, run tests router.test.md and see if you can get the same error, in which case it is a caching error.
This doesn't mention befores.
So you're requiring something that you haven't told it
It's
about.
not in the general concepts. Now, that's your remote thread. So let me trace down why that latest thing isn't showing up. I will now check the webhook to make sure that, well, actually, because I'm paranoid, I'll check that actually under info, this file is talking about befores, as I would expect. Just to make sure we're not completely fucking mad. Front matter, test cases, befores. Okay, so we got it in there. And now we need to make sure that it made it to the deployment. So I'll check the webhook. Webhook says, yes, that worked fine. Okay, so it's definitely in there. I will now check it on my local machine after clearing the cache out. I will now create a new thread using Control Y. Which is a hotkey that I just want to advertise to you yet again. I never see you use it.
I've been using it.
Fucking shitty fucking. This shit is so frustrating. It's so tantalizingly powerful, and yet it still feels like I write a shit load of code in a day, and I'm like, this was not the dream.
We'll get there. I think in my list of oddness, I went through that the other day, and I reckon about 2/3 of it is prompting.
There we go. So befores is there. So something that you did, you haven't done something correctly to give you the befores information when you run a thing. And so now you're saying to me, switch to the files runner?
Yeah, so go test files runner, and
Okay.
then do run tests router.test.md.
That one?
Yep.
Router. What did you do? What? Why did you try to read? Why did you do that? That's a bonkers thing to do.
Test files. Right. This is a prompting thing. Now, test file runner needs to know. Remember, we were talking about saying this is your working file, your working folder.
Yeah. Did you prompt it to do something?
No, I've not changed it. But I think we need to change it to say,
Right.
Instead of having to type out tests stroke, it's like you are working in tests stroke. Just append that to everything, because all the tests are in there and subfolders and so on. That's your working folder. Perhaps it could be that.
Okay. I'll leave that to you.
Hold a second. Cannot find the specified test file. Test in the directory test. Right. Okay. So it's.
So now what I've found is if I put a / in front, it definitely knows that the whole thing is a path. I think if I had have also quoted it, it would have known. That's been my experience with it.
It is, but in the kind of messy world of people, remember the other day, it's like I was going right test files runner, and then I was doing / run. Well, I wasn't even doing run. I was doing / test stroke router.test.md, and router was trying to find an agent in tests, and it was definitely not an agent.
Right. Okay. So we're getting befores. We're getting befores now, which is good. Then we're adding a second case with empty befores, which is good. There's no befores in any of this, right?
Yep. Simple as.
Simple as Nana's nuts. Okay.
So that the agent name immediately following thing is switched to regardless of what information comes afterwards.
Yeah. I also wanted to point out to you that see how I store these prompts as chains, and so a feature in the testing framework I haven't seen you try to use is that under prompts there's also meant to be chains as well. If you want to have a block of prompts that go one after the other, then you can
inside of a test file.
Well, yeah, because if you go, if you just have prompts and you do nothing else, you will get. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I over tabbed. If you do nothing else, right? You just go prompts and then you get these things. But the idea of the chains format was that I can add an entry in where I say chain, and then from here, if I put in like prompt 1, prompt 2, that will be treated as here. This one is treated as standalone. It just gets run, right, and then the expectations are met. If it comes in with a chain, it will first run prompt 1 and then run prompt 2 and then do the assessment.
Right. So chain is the unitary. It's the unitary function. For example, add a customer.
Yeah.
Chain, add a customer. Number 2, delete customer. Number 3, does that customer exist?
Yeah. So chain allows you to group the prompts together and run them one after the other.
Got it. Brilliant. Okay.
But it's not implemented because it needs prompting. It is implemented in functions, like all the functions are there for you to do it, but it's not implemented in prompting.
So I can't use it yet.
Well, not until you make it. I made my bit.
Okay. Well, let's try it. Okay. So let's mess around with. Let's do a remote on.
Yeah. Can we get to the bottom of this thing? Like you said, was there problems?
Yeah. See if you get that weirdness.
What is the weirdness? I don't even know what the weirdness is.
That error. Validation error at TPS report.
I don't get that. I don't get that because it's adding the befores parameter in all of its calls, and so I no longer get the error.
So why? What did you do in order to avoid that error?
I simply cleared my site data and reloaded the page.
Right. Can I take over and
Sure.
just so I understand? Okay, so I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to go to my eyesight in VR is not good. Okay, going there. I'm going to go and get rid of my site data. Clear site data. Okay, so that is correct, right?
Yeah, but you've only done it in incognito. You also need to do it in non-incognito to clear the site data.
Ah. Oh, fuck. Really?
I think so. I mean, that makes sense to me because incognito is meant to be independent.
So if I go...
If you bring up your site data now, it should have data in it even though you cleared it.
Uh-huh.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so now that's
Hey.
clear. Get rid of that. Okay, back here. Fine. Get rid of that. Okay, so if I was to go test file runner. I'm going to try it on the Hammer agent actually. Okay, run tests.
Tests.
Tests. Scott.
Skippity dippity. Skippity. It's got to be the
Scott mud. Pit stroke. What do I call it?
This is so. It's like tragic and funny at the same time. Watching as I try and pick which is the next feature to build that you would appreciate the most for the least amount of effort from me, and I'm starting to think it's the clicking on the file thing.
The clicking on the file thing would be so much easier.
Yeah. I'm sorry that it's so slow to produce features. I feel like is it still the correct approach? Like, because we're almost at the stage where I could have benefited from another pair of hands, but then I'm like, that other pair of hands brings burdens and overheads, and I'm like, we are it still feels quite close that we are AI accelerated if we can get that stuck loop in there.
Yeah, I would not say that we need another pair of hands at the moment. Okay, that's all good.
I gave you the in progress thing there. You should be happy about that.
I'm very happy.
You don't sound it.
So, wrong case should be 11.
11.
That's interesting. But, please confirm test case matches the number of documented test cases. Oh, no, that's fine. That was my negative result. That's correct.
Test cases? The number of test cases in multiple hammer tests?
Well, actually, no, let's check that.
This is a case of, this is what I would put to you as an error.
Well, that is, right.
That's an error in the prompting of the test files agent.
Creating one test. Customer created, well, let's go through them one by one.
One by one.
Let's see, because I do not see an error, which is good. No errors. Okay, reading test file, happy. Create this one, which is this test. Fine. Reading the file identified that there are 12 tests. What? Usually I'm setting a separate test case. There isn't 12 test cases. Where the fuck has it come up with that?
28,
30
29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. I count 36 tests in multiple hammer test.
36 tests.
So
Oh,
this
right. No. Yes, no, that's fine.
is it fine? It doesn't look fine.
No, it is because right. Let me rerun that test because this is all the tests that I've been generating, and we show that the customer can create.
All right. Well, this is the issue. Like, there's definitely an issue in the prompting of the files runner, and this is why I've been focusing on the fixture, because it's dead simple. And if the fixture doesn't work, then nothing else is going to work either. So,
right. Let me get rid of that. Okay, and oh, look at that! Oh, that's so nice. It's so nice.
I'd say that was actually quite a. Hey, look at it! Look at it go! User interface.
Right. So you read it incorrectly. Now you've got the two tests. Okay, the tests are create one customer. Create one customer.
What? It looks like you got.
Ensure that the customer agent can be created. Create one customer. Okay. Count the customers.
Okay.
Response should be the 3. So that should fail. That's the failure test.
That's but so we are expecting 3 tests in here. All right.
And then create 30 customers. And it should be able to create. Yes. So let's see what it does. User initiated a run. Yes, I did. That was me.
Indeed, you did.
Mea culpa.
How many customers do we have? 3. Yep, that's correct. Oh, what? 2.
No. Response must show that we should only have 1. I've created 1, and I'm saying we should have 3. It should fail.
What the hell? What is going on? How many tests are in that multiple hammer test file? How many tests according to you?
There are 3 tests. First one is create one customer.
Okay, so this thing here, confirm case count, has failed because it has not read the test file correctly.
Right.
Okay.
So why is that?
Yeah, so why don't we go back to doing the fixture and just get the fixture working, because this advanced thing has got no hope in hell of working if the basic thing isn't working.
Okay, great. Right, well, let's go back. You have the screen. This is muddy as hell.
God damn.
We're in the point where our welly's getting sucked off by the mud trying to walk.
Okay, so this router test seemed to work.
It seemed to work, yep.
Completed cases, blah blah blah, expectations. A switch was made to the given agent. Yes. Swallow prompt was true. Yes. Success 1-1. Good. Okay. Iterations, prompts /01. Outcome true. Reasoning true. Yeah, okay, fine. Next one, 0-1. 0 success. Okay. Outcome. I reckon that should have passed, but okay, fine. Shit, what am I doing here? So, router test passes fine. I want to run the test fixture. Okay. Oh, man, hating this lack of a file selecting thing already. Test fixture. That's the most basic thing we have, right?
Yep.
Let's see what you got, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. Okay, we read the file and we got it right for once. Okay, now we're gonna. Ooh, we got ahead of ourselves. Ooh, we did some parallel tool calls. Okay. The test cases have been read. Okay. Add case. Call the local function. Fail a test. Yep. Throw an error. Yep. Before function. Yep. But it missed the befores.
Was there any befores that were specified?
Yeah.
About
Before. Call the local function.
expand that befores.
That's it. It's empty. 0 items. Like if I click that, there's nothing there. Right, and now that's the second to last one, and then
I think I know where we're going.
and then the last one is multiple befores, and we got a single before, which was index number 3, which is correct because but it should have also that is definitely index number 3, so that's correct. But it should have also said call the local function. But I think now that I take a look at it here, yeah, that should have worked just fine. But this result should have been this array, instead of it just being 3, it should have been 3, 0. That's what the output should have been there. So it's not interpreting the text file and turning it into JSON correctly.
Right, where is it being told to do that?
In the combination of the agent file and the info file. So somewhere between the prompting of this file, between this prompt and between this info file, which is here.
It's not going to be test file runner. It's going to be the info file.
Okay, so in the info file, it's not. Now, my description of before was not great, but like I said, I'm trying to just get it to pass it to you in a way that's not too dorky, but it genuinely seems to me like it's either a prompting problem or something that we need to change in the architecture of how we're expecting the test process to go. But I can't think of anything better than the current process we've got, because it seems to cause errors well. Like I like that getting it to check or confirm the case count is, that's a good check, because it's like, well, like it's going to fail, it's good to have these checks along the way that check the inference. The only way it could get case count right is if it had the right model in its context.
Yes. And, you should always, as a rule, any agent should be able to run its own tests to see that it's not just on Wibble.
Yeah, you always need to have some sort of a check in there. So what I'm trying to hand off to you is to show you how just running the most basic test doesn't interpret the before's directive correctly. And this is what's stopping me giving you the feature you wanted, which is the ability to have this before concept in the tests.
Mm-hmm.
and I genuinely think I've done everything on the coding side to make it possible, but we're blocked by the prompting. And uh, this is what I want you to do so that I don't have to.
Okay. So again, just I'll pause what I'm doing to fix this. So just so I have it absolutely in my head.
Yep.
So the definition of before comes from where?
Comes from the info file.
Info file has a definition of what before means.
Info test format has the definition of what before means.
Right. Okay. And that is inherited by the test file runner.
Yes,
Test file runner therefore knows what before is
correct,
and what to do with it.
correct. And
And
it's been sort of, sorry,
the format, because it's been told what the format is. Where's the format?
the format that it has to read the markdown document in, or the format that it has to call the TPS report isolate with.
The format you need to call the TPS isolate format with.
The bot gets that in its functions and the actual prompting. I'm sorry I haven't made that visible to you, but to get at it, you need to go to the artifact repo,
Mm-hmm.
and then into isolates,
Mm-hmm.
then into the TPS report isolate, because that's you can see that from the function calls in the
So
agent
TPS
file.
report. Yeah.
Yeah, TPS report under isolates, and when it calls add case,
Mm-hmm.
this is the schema of add case.
And it'll right.
And
So
what's important to know is these lines here become part of the prompt because they get included with the function descriptions that get sent to the bot. So I could inadvertently completely screw you if I put something contradictory in here and you end up fighting against it in your prompt.
got it. And in terms of the test.md format,
Yeah.
where's that?
The test.md format is not strictly defined anywhere.
It's just emergent from the isolate.
Well, it's from the info thing here. So the TPS format is the only thing that's strictly defined. The TPS format is done in this way so that I could have strict control over having multiple parallel threads doing the runs and then entering their results without breaking the whole system. But the actual markdown format is just I've sort of built it up bit by bit using the agent fixture because it is pretty simple. I haven't there's not That's the funny thing about natural language. It doesn't require this canonical type of thing anymore. We should take it upon ourselves to make a canonical version or example or something, but in actual fact, as it's not as easy as it is in code to make a canonical format of a thing that's in natural language and is intended to be sloppy.
Well, yeah, you don't have to because on the if you look at Hammer, so tests Scott Mudd multiple Hammer dot test.
Sorry, you're asking me to switch to something?
Yeah, I just want to show you. Is actually confirming what you're saying because this was working quite nicely. I invented a test ID.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So
yeah,
It should be very sloppy, and you should be allowed to be sloppy. But under the hood, it needs to be. It needs to, so long as you fit that JSON structure that I'm giving you, then it will all work nicely. Above the hood, you can do whatever you want.
Right. So if it's not defined, it will just handle it. If it is defined, it has to be exact. So, for example, if I were to say, well, let's try it on the on that on multiple hammer, which is where
What are we trying to do here? Sorry.
get it in my head so that I can fix it.
Yeah, do what? I lost track of the target. My bad.
Sorry. What I'm saying is, what I want is a very simple test.md
Yep.
that includes a before.
Yep. So that is your fixture. If you focus on
Yeah.
the fixture and that the fixture is intentionally built that way to be the simplest possible thing that has an example of the new feature in it. This is the
Right. Okay.
closest
So
thing we have to a canonical example.
right. Okay. So I'll work on this, and it knows about before. Call the function. Prompt say hello. Right. Okay. I'm gonna fuck with this quite widely. And run that. Yeah, okay. I think I see. I
Right?
see
You
what's
sort of
going.
you
I
sort
think
of see
it's.
like well, this
Yeah, I
is
see
this
what's
is
going wrong here.
critical.
Yeah.
It's critical to get this piece going. If you can get this bit going in the prompting, then we've got something an anchor to pin on, and
Yeah.
we can then expand out to the next feature,
Yeah.
and
It's a
we get
foundation.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a foundation because then we like roll back and we're like, well, it used to work and now it doesn't. You added a comma there and now it doesn't work. But if I take the comma and we can actually have progress.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you. I'm probably going to just to keep your fixtures one clean. I'm probably going to copy one and go. I got
No,
fixture.
just grab the fixture because you really shouldn't have to. You really shouldn't have to modify the fixture file. The fixture file should work as is. The things holding it back are the file runner prompt and the info prompt, and the model choice. You know, like because you're
Yeah.
currently on 4.0 mini, you might need to do the big dog 4.0 whatever.
Yeah.
So now that here's an example that I generated just using the 4.0 mini
Mm.
to just show you. You know, you were asking for where's a canonical example of the prompt of a test file. This is
Yeah.
one, but
Does it
it's just
does it include
generated.
befores? Does it include befores?
Um, do that again, but use the befores feature. Oh, see, hey, this is actually a great test. Um, hey, isn't that wrong? Because I thought that the befores could not reference things that were not included in the same test file. This is a great test because if you ask the bot to you like repeat back to me what you heard, and now it's generating an invalid befores format.
Yeah.
So you're correct. Yeah, you always say that. You don't mean it though because you just keep going.
And it's also done it. Okay.
So
Right.
clearly, the strength of the info file is deficient in defining the concept of befores, which I would
Right.
expect because I wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay. So I
that's a
think
great technique, actually.
what I need to do, I think, is to only need to look at the info file prompt because everything else should be the same. Now we've got our
Yeah, that's the key.
format
That's the key
test.
that I'm trying to drive at with you. The
Just that paragraph. That's where I'm working on. That paragraph in info.
Well, maybe not, but there's probably a lot of other areas in info and in the file runner agent that are also wrong. Like a good
Yeah,
technique
but
of yours has been to feed those through GPT and ask for problems about it. Um,
yeah,
but the 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 job I put to you is changing only the file runner agent and the info document make the fixture pass, because the
yes,
reason the
okay,
reason I the reason I think that's a very well defined stuck or piece of work is
yeah,
because there's no fucking reason that fixture was not trying to be difficult, complicated, or hard or anything like that.
yeah,
The
yeah,
right
yeah,
there should be. It's not a problem in the fixture. It's a problem in the prompt. So,
yes, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Right. Good.
and I guess to really labor the point, the principle I'm trying to get at here is if we can get a good, stable, working version of the info file and the file runner agent that works on the fixture, only then can we progress to the next more advanced stage, which is
Yeah, yeah, of course, because otherwise you get your
your
testing
errors
goes up
carry
and down.
through.
Yeah, yeah, and compound as well.
Compound, yeah, yeah. And we'll
Okay,
waste so
all right.
much time with like, oh, it's weird. It's like, it's not weird. It's
That
just that we didn't build
is,
it up bit by bit.
bro, that is one of the most juicy questions that I've had for a while, and I think I can see where it's going wrong.
Good, because I
Uh,
can't.
yeah.
But I think there is only one extra function that I need to implement in the isolates, um, to give you everything you need to have the before functionality. I will
Hmm.
endeavor to do that tonight before I sign off, but I'll message you either way. And the only functionality is to actually run the befores in the test runner. I think it's dead simple, so
All
I
right.
should be
Yeah,
able to do
yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I got stuck on the prompting, and now I think I've been able to hand off the prompting to you because
Yep.
this is a clear problem statement. It's a
Yes.
very clear and gnarly sort of a thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I like this. So what I'm going to do is to give you time to do that because without doing that, I don't know whether I'm going to be correct or not.
what?
Um, well, I don't know whether befores are running.
Yeah, you
Um,
do. Because they're not even being entered. They're not being entered correctly.
well, yes, but once they're entered, I want them to actually run.
Yeah, I know, but sorry, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, in terms of tasks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause what I'm doing on the stuck format and generating stucks, um, which we can go through now.
It'd be
But
great to go through that, yeah, so that I know
yeah,
what's happening there.
yeah,
But
at the risk of cognitive overload, because this is quite a gnarly one and a really interesting one, and the stuck format is probably less gnarly.
yeah,
Um, and then if you can do the isolate, I'll look at that info paragraph.
would you prefer
Well,
that I
at
did
least,
the isolate now then? So we should end this call. We'll defer the Stux review, and then
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
get the isolate thing in, and then we can do the review of the OpenAI tools some other time, like tomorrow or the day after. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because
Okay.
this is gnarly and important, and what I don't want to do is have cognitive overload on other stuff.
All right. No worries.
Um,
So let me just power skim you through the important parts that affect us
uh,
with what was released today. There is now a function called prompt caching, which is apparently between 80 and 50% faster to return a result for long conversation threads. And it also saves you 50% on the cost. So that's great for us.
these guys are just out of the fucking loop, aren't they?
It's outrageous, eh? The real-time API has finally come to town. And I gotta say that of all the APIs that they have ever released, this one was the one I wanted the most.
Is this the real-time voice-to-voice?
Voice to voice, dude. Voice
Yeah,
to voice. That is the first time a machine can go sound in, sound out
yeah.
like a human.
Well, remember months ago I was saying what I want to do is walk up and down in the middle of my office, just talking
Right.
to my
And so
laptop.
that right. So the key thing that I want you to comprehend for a deeper discussion on it later
Yeah.
is the fact that the three box model may be obsoleted because of this natural voice thing. And it it begs the question, what does the chat window look like if your conversation was in pure text? And now let me give you an example here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna laugh at how I do this. You're actually gonna piss your pants at this.
Push my pants at a lot of the stuff you say, man.
Really? Well, this is okay. So this is how we're gonna do
Hey,
this.
your beard is getting proper.
Look, I got issues, okay? I don't go outside. I just sit in front of the fucking computer. I talk to it. I have this mask like Bane where I'm fucking speaking to the thing all day long. And then I wear this fucking thing to talk to someone on the opposite side of the world every damn day. So, give me some slack on my personal presentation.
Incidentally, I've been doing to keep fit. I've been laying a patio, so concrete dust everywhere. And Judy's been so kind as she's given one of our obsolete full biohaz masks, and I think that's the future. I'll show you it later on. Well, I've got it here if you want, but right, what am I watching?
How do I flip this fucking thing?
Details are.
Mate, I can't flip it. Anyway, the point I'm trying. Oh, Christ almighty. Must I have everything perfect? Video settings, camera settings.
Must be a flip. Where does flip? Oh, I've seen a flip somewhere.
I've seen flip too. Can you make it without the flip? Not really, eh?
Take a screen grab and send it.
Christ. Why is life so hard?
Oh, by the way, you know that drop that you got a few days ago? With
What drop?
the on the app, you can interrupt it and you can have it.
Yep.
And
You got it?
Harry talk to it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, great.
I've got a limit of 59 minutes a day.
Stingy. So about the pricing, it turns out like the voice is only going into 4.0 at the moment, and it costs about 6 cents a minute for input sound, but it's 24 cents a minute for output sound, which is pretty steep.
That's like a long distance call.
I know,
20
right?
years ago.
Yeah, I know. So it'll come down once Mini comes on the scene and all that, but still, right? It's pretty steep. Anyway, before I get my ugly mush off the camera, I wanted to point out to you that Jesus, and now my phone timed out just when I was is that this is what the chat window would look like if we did pure voice to voice, and it comes out being a little bit it's janky, like it gets interrupted and it gets cut off and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is that the 3-box interface, it sort of feels like the pure chat almost needs to be summarized, like the chat window should be for not pure voice to voice like I think we'd been imagining, but instead it's for like summarized data.
Yeah.
You know?
Because quite often when I was playing with it, I would say something and I would misword it and it would
Yeah,
go off on one, but
yeah,
then you
yeah,
can
yeah.
interrupt it and say, no, no, that's not what I meant.
Right, right. So the controls that you get over this thing are, from what I can tell, I can actually inject text-based instructions to it while it's generating audio and while you're generating audio. And so I can say interrupt, or I can say, I can give it extra instructions on the side. And where I'm trying to go with this is that we need to very quickly decide what our future is, what our fate is, based on the fact that you and I both deeply want that automatic talking thing. How do we include that into this? Is it going to be the concept of this single concierge agent? It's like a presentation agent that deals with the voice to voice and turns it into text that goes back into the rest of the agents to process. Is it like it's this front man, this PA that's like quite smart, but
Yeah, I've been thinking along the same lines actually. I think the three box is still there, right? But um, the voice is you call Billy in, right? Billy, I need to talk to you about this. And you go, I need to do lamb rogan josh, and say, oh, you want a recipe book? So no, 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 Billy, no, 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 I just want lamb rogan josh. It's like, okay, right. So what do you want? I want a recipe. It's like, okay, go recipe, and the recipe is the thing that comes up here.
right. So is it then perhaps that if we blend in our concept of topic threads, does the message box become actually the current topic thread, which is like tool calls, function calls, file modifications, and then the audio chat is almost a behind the scenes view that you kind of don't want to look at because you just don't. It's painful to read the audio chat because it's like snippets of
Yeah,
transcription.
it's way too much. And
Yeah,
if you model it on right, how you and I react or interact, okay?
yeah,
We talk, we talk, we talk. It's like we're figuring it out. It's like right, okay, and then occasionally you go into message and like right, let's try this.
yeah. So you kind of want the message box to really be the deliberate actions that you took as opposed to the chat, which we thought it was going to be. And
Yeah,
so, really, I think that the message box would look like if I had no hands and I was talking to you and you were typing in the message box, that's what the interface should be like for a user, right?
sort of. So the way I was thinking about it is actually the voice to voice is like a fourth box that's not visual.
Yeah, right. It's a different mode. It's a non-visual box.
Yeah,
It's the presence of the machine, right?
exactly.
Right.
And so you can talk to,
The voice of
hey, I want to do
Hal.
this, I want to do that. And it's like, oh, do you really mean this? And it's like, yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Okay,
Right.
right. Do you want me
Right.
to do it?
Right.
Yeah, do it. And then
Right.
it comes up here.
Okay. That
And
sounds like the thing,
and
right?
yeah, and if you a couple of times when I was talking to it, it's like you're getting it wrong. Right, okay, let me spell it out, and then go to your keyboard, and you go, I'm going to spell it out. This is what I want, but the fourth kind of voice box, as it were.
Mm.
So we've got three visual and one audio. It knows what the context of what you're talking about, the audio, but you're saying, no, this is actually what I mean.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
there's, it's like a 4D screen with only three boxes.
Yeah. One's voice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that suits me. And I think I should try and integrate this thing as quickly as possible because we should be able to use our existing prompting tools to be able to program the configurable parameters of the speech agent. So that should mean that without needing to program, you and I can twiddle with and alter how the voice agent responds, just like we're already twiddling with how the agents respond by text. But I should also be able to do special isolate calls that reconfigure I
Well,
should give you an
right.
isolate that can configure the voice agent, so you can make an agent that messes with all the settings in the voice thing too.
Yeah, and I tried this yesterday when I first got the drop on my phone. Um, Called another person and
Mm,
said, right, well, let's have a chat. And we're chatting, and the voice agent was basically a third person in the room, and they're
mm.
going, "Hey, can we try that out?" No, that's never going to work. What do you think? Agent is like, "Well, yeah, you could try that," and then it's like, "No, no, that's not going to." Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Now, at that point, even with keywords, you could say, "Okay, agent, let's try that," and
Mm.
then it goes to something that the screen is more canonical than the conversation. The conversation can go all over the place.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Which actually maybe saves us a bit of burden because we had a problem where the messages could drift a lot, or the
Yes,
messages we felt needed to be very long because they needed to contain all the history. But I'm starting to sense that if we move to this topic branch concept, the messages are just about the previous topic. And if you want to switch to, hey, what topics was I looking at? Then the message thing
that's right.
switches, right? And
That's right. So you
yeah.
can imagine it. Even this conversation we got at the moment, right? We started off. You had a problem. It's like we're talking about a problem, backwards and
So
forwards. It's
the
like, oh, well, let's test it.
So the
Okay, right. Can you
messaging
test?
screen becomes almost like a meta state board. It's like a state board about the state board. And it's
Yeah.
really there so that if you say, what topics have I got? That's a meta state board thing, not a primary state board thing.
Yes.
You're right. And then you'd
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
one and then the state board would respond. And so
Yeah.
the state board
But
is the info and the thread is the info about the info.
I would add in though that every now and again you'd come to a conclusion and go, "Hey, that's great. Can you show me a map of all these routes?" And that
Yeah.
goes onto the state board.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's the thing. Like the state board
Yeah.
is concrete information, but if you want to talk about the topics that you've been dealing with, that would happen in the topic window, the topic thread, the message thread. The
Right.
message thread.
It's almost like a funnel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a state
In
board about the state boards.
Yeah, at the start you've got really messy conversation. You don't really know. You're interrupting each other.
Yeah.
The agent deals with it, hones, and it's like, okay, right, let's try that. Then when you try that, then it goes into the left-hand side, and it's like, boom, and you go, no, it didn't work. And
Mm.
then it does work, and saying, okay, well, show me what that looks like. And and when you show me what that looks like, the state board has been tracking your topics. You've been talking about Lamb, Rag and Josh. You've been talking about trucking. You've been talking about price of cheese. And it's like, okay, let's go back to the price of cheese. It's like, okay, right.
Mm.
Then we can track the topics in the kind of canonical text, which is the left-hand side.
Mm.
The state board is ephemeral and just gives you the visual representation of what you've been talking about.
Mm.
And at the top of the funnel, you've got the really messy conversation, which can go anywhere. You can talk about the fact that you've now got brown shoes in your avatar,
Mm.
and it's not going to change anything.
Yeah. So I guess there would be different zoom levels within that meta state board, in that you could zoom out and see all your topics, or you could zoom into one and be deeply within it. And you could sort of navigate around like that. The state board is definitely not that. The state board is for what the topics want to do, but the place that deals with the topics is the topic window or the topic
Yes.
thing.
So the left hand side is the stuff.
Mm.
That's the canonical stuff. The
Yeah.
state board is the helpful representation, so you can visualize it and see easily
Yeah,
and see
advanced
clear.
visualization.
Exactly.
Right.
And the conversation is just conversation where you can say, for example, right now, hey, let's talk about the time zones
Yeah.
change between New Zealand and Scotland because, I had
Yeah.
to change my clock yesterday. Right. That's not, or is that a
Right.
new topic? It might turn into one.
Right. And so that the input box becomes both text as well as voice, but the voice is running all the time type of thing. It's no longer just this do a transcription and then press enter. It's like it's always running.
Yeah, and it feels like there should be some kind of not necessarily prescribed key phrases, but say if we've got a voice bot, you and I are talking backwards and forwards, we decide the voice bot is helping, and then we say, right, voice bot, try that, and then it goes to the left hand side, and it's like, boom.
Yeah, so the voice bot has functions. That's what it is. I sent you a couple of links that indicate how to prompt the voice bot, so that they have this extra sort of clause here, personality, how
Yeah, I
fast
wish
you speak and
I
all
wish
that.
they wouldn't all, I wish they wouldn't always be Californian.
Yeah, I know.
I'd like to get a Ukrainian in there.
I think it does do accents, actually. I think it does do accents.
It's not accents, it's an attitude. Because I always loved talking to those Eastern European guys because, you know, there'd be none of the, hi, how do you do? Oh, if there's anything else you can do, please help. It's like,
Hmm.
can you please not do that? But I'm sure that's coming. Anyway.
Hmm. Anyway, that was
Um,
kind of the main thing I wanted to get your brain working on, is that the real-time voice API changes
yeah.
things, but it's like the next level of change. And man, I can see how to make a childcare device that would be like, I was telling one of the guys at work about it, and he was like, "Oh, it's like
Yeah,
$1 billion right there," and I was
to,
like, "Man,
tell us about how your son, like you said, was talking for 10 minutes. What was he
yeah,
talking about?
anything and everything." And it was like, because the bot, I started trying to instruct the bot, and then I'd give it to my son, but what it turned out I get the best results from is no prompting at all. Turn it on, pass the phone over to the kid, and off he
He goes,
goes. And
it's
and the
like,
bot
hello,
figures
who are
out
you?
the bot figures out the cadence of the conversation, the topics, and all that. Sometimes I would jump in on the side and I would do clarification of like, hey, he actually said this or that or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I can control the bot using an API, I
Mm-hmm.
can start to interject in there with things like conversation steering, instructions based on measurements. Like if I know that there's a word that is continually mispronounced, then I would be able to tell the bot, hey, at the next earliest opportunity, recite the word and get him to repeat it back to you, things like that. Like, this is the absolute keys to the kingdom for training a kid using AI. That's like better than a parent, because it's got more. First of all, it's got patience and it's got time.
I was about to say.
Yeah. Second of all, it's like engaging with the kid. Like, I heard this thing tell the story of Winnie the Pooh, adapted for my son and his friends to be included in the story, and then it did Piglet's voice, like the
Really?
actual voice of Piglet, and then the voice of Pooh and the voice of Eeyore, right? And this kid was
Really?
cracking up laughing at it. He's like, "Oh, it's so funny," because it's like,
Oh, God, that's
it's better than a
fantastic.
human, right? And it can also do like really, really good rhymes and songs. Like, not, it refuses to sing for now, but it can do rhymes about topics that you know that are witty and funny. And so it keeps you, it's very
Ah,
good
that's
like that.
absolutely. So I've got a prediction here. Roughly speaking, we had what's called digital natives,
Yeah.
right? People who knew about websites,
And now you're
and
talking
then
about
you
AI natives,
then you had like device natives, which are,
right?
you know, you're
Right.
dealing with apps and
Right. Right.
social
Right.
media.
Right.
AI natives, I think, are the ones that are coming through.
Yes. And I think the only sensible course of action is to be at the absolute forefront of that. And I was thinking about
Yeah,
that today, that when the iPhone first came out, and when like the Meta Quest and all those things, like being able to get your hands on the hardware so you could do some testing and development was critical to being in pole position when the race started.
yeah.
Making an educational system for a kid requires access to a very special piece of hardware called a child. And it turns out
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying
They're
I'm the
quite
only one with
expensive.
access.
They're quite expensive to get hold of, though.
Oh, God, in so many ways, right? But having access to one is pretty useful for this particular case, and I think that I might be just in time if we go like the absolute wind and get all our other things ticked off for the Dreamcatcher. I might be just in time to deliver within the next year or so an educational system that can help my son be educated at a higher
Well,
quality.
how about now, not to distract from trucking and so on, but I think we've got all the pieces, the bare ass pieces of it. But if we could get this this fourth D of our three boxes,
Mm,
sorry, down, um, and the state board was generating images of the story as it's
right,
going through,
right, yeah.
and the child was saying, "Oh, I don't like that monster," and it's like it would go, "Oh, they changed the story." It's like the
Yeah,
story,
that's right.
the
And but
monster's really nice guy, or
it's
whatever.
kind of it's very simple and also very endless. You can make the bot require the cues for the next page in the story or the next snippet of AI generated video to come from the child and be run against conformance checks to see whether many other children like that kind of thing as well. And then, like, yeah, you can. It really is endless, but it's the key is that it's gated gated media consumption. So if the kid wants something cool, they have to like respond in a way that demonstrates assimilation of knowledge or some kind of an increment or improvement in their intellectual
It's
capability.
well, that's just a special case of rules base, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so the bot's always assessing and testing and trying to nudge out expand their mind ever so little bit by little bit. And it's finding places where there's a run on the seam where you're like, whoa, this kid really likes that area. And, like it's gradually expanding the mind. And so even parents that don't have a lot of skills in a particular area, these bots can guarantee you that your child is going to get maximum brain expansion at the maximum rate in whatever area possibly could be there. Like this is absolutely the future of this stuff.
I think you're right. And if there's one thing that uh, hampered a similar kind of thing when we're talking about iPads is screen time. Parents going, I don't like
Screen time
too
is
much
bad.
screen
Screen
time.
time is bad because
Yeah,
you're interacting in those the visual dimension as
yeah,
opposed to the vocal dimension, right? And
yeah. But
right,
also, you're looking at something, and um, even I was looking at a paper the other day. Apparently, myopia is increasing because everyone's focusing on close things instead of far
right,
away things. But
right.
you could wander around, talking to this thing,
Yeah,
um, in your headset.
yeah. So what I was thinking of doing was turning one of the rooms into like a lab where it's got like a couple of AI cameras, and so you could feed vision into the model, and it could talk about like what is the book you're reading, which train set are we talking about? Like all those things can be built into the
Yeah,
educational device.
it's like Mary Poppins. Yeah,
Kind of like that, dude. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's the future, and I think that we're kind of dead in the
I
water
think
without it.
I think that's that's tens of millions, hundreds of millions
Right,
right there.
right, and it's raisable too. It's raisable because all you got to
Yeah,
do is like if we can get it working for one kid, and then show someone, they'll be like, "My goodness, let
yeah.
me. We need to do this a lot."
But also you can fine tune it. Maybe there's an autistic kid. Maybe there's a very high
Absolutely,
functioning kid.
early detection of particular special needs is
But also
critical.
but also feedback. If they're not getting it, then you don't go higher. If
That's
they
right.
are
Yeah.
getting it fast, you just go
Yeah,
higher
it's the
faster.
perfect load. It's the perfect load for the
Yeah.
kid to carry.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
I think that's the
Also
yeah.
strikes me, this is a shit idea in comparison. That was a brilliant idea, but gamers, they love the live action role playing,
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Same thing
Mm,
essentially, because you've got, say, if you put in, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, dump it in there, and then it's like, hey, I'm Aragorn, I'm fucking Gimli, whatever, and they're all talking and they're walking around the environment and they're seeing, images or even video
yeah, I
eventually.
guess that's the future of VR, right? Is
Yeah,
AI generated 3D landscapes that are just responding to the story that you're telling.
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
that's the future.
Anyway,
Yeah,
we're definitely on the fucking wavefront. Let's
I
not fall
know,
off.
I know, I know.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, but basically, to sum that up in a nutshell, I was like, if I can give an unprompted voice-based thing and have my son be engaged by it for 10, 15 minutes and ask me for more later, then a primed, studied, prompted, calculated, continually improving version will be like absolute catnip to the kids, and
Yeah.
it will vastly improve the educational outcomes for the kid whilst taking burden off of the parents or
Yeah, but also,
caregivers.
interesting enough, back to the AI native thing, this is probably the last prompt before we need to go. Sorry, not the last prompt, last
The last prompt.
point. Shit.
Oh dear.
Is a child brought up in that environment
Mm.
is going to be able to prompt AIs.
They're gonna it'll just be like the air they breathe, dude, and we will be
Yeah,
foreigners walking in their land. And so
yeah,
you get left behind if one of these types of shifts happen and you end up on the wrong side of the cusp.
yeah.
Like,
We'll be going. Oh, I've got an email. Can you print it out for me because I miss
yeah,
faxes?
but also like the kids growing up, if you're not deep AI native from like now, you missed it almost, like like
Yeah,
it's kind of like you got to be on board now, and the distinction will be, it'll be like the difference between people who had Google and didn't. I remember that distinction. It was
yeah,
like talking to a Neanderthal versus talking, and they didn't miss by much. They only missed by like a year or two, and you're like, wow, this dude knows nothing.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like while I've been busy googling away,
It's one of
um
those inflection points, isn't it?
yeah, it's crazy. All
As
right.
of right now. Okay, well, let's get on and actually build the thing.
Yeah, I'll get that isolate thing put in, and I'll message you when it's done,
Nice one.
or
And
if
I'll
I
get
can't do it in time. Yeah.
I'm gonna tomorrow. Well, hopefully today. I'll make progress, if not fix
Fix the
the
fixture.
info thing, fix the fixture,
Awesome.
and then I can talk to you about how do we automate stocks
Okay. Talk to
in
me
the way
about
that
that.
I was.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
thing, if you run out of useful, like direct mainline things to do after the fixture, it's fix the test file runner tester. Who tests the tester is the next problem to get done.
yeah. Well, that'll be my proof that the info thing is correct.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. All
All
right,
right, man.
buddy.
Wow, that was another fucking info dense one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. We still missed out most of the stuff. Anyway, we'll catch it tomorrow. I'll see you then, eh?
All right, see you, man.
Okay.